All right, good morning. Welcome to the Church of the Angels virtual service. The church is an independent, non-denominational, interfaith spiritualist assembly. My name is Reverend Jenni Vinecourt, and I am your facilitator today. We'll spend about an hour together with prayer, a bit of sharing, and some song. You may join us today with just your audio. You don't have to use your video because we are recording so that we can help more folks connect with us. So if you don't want to use your video, that's fine. I also ask that all participants can keep themselves muted unless it's during the sharing portion and you want to say something, or if you have a question. During the sharing portion, if you want to be called on, raise your hand or use the chat function to give me a quick hey so that I know to call on you and to make sure that you are unmuted for your comments. I also want to mention before we get started that if you wish to make a donation, you can do so through the Church of the Angels website. And you will also at that time have the opportunity to make that a recurring donation if you choose. And I want to give a big thank you to those who have donated already to help us keep going through this difficult time. In case anybody has any questions or has any concerns about whether the church is going to make it through this, yes, we will. We are good. We're fine. We're making it through, and we'll be there when we get back together. So if you would please join me in an opening prayer. Mother, Father, Infinite Spirit, thank you for your blessings on all those joining us today to honor your work and experience your grace and wisdom. Thank you for providing the appropriate thoughts, insights, actions, and all resources for us to gain a better and truer understanding of your love by the words spoken and the healing brought forth here today so that we might lead healthy, happy, and prosperous lives. Thank you for showing us the way to accept responsibility for our lives. We are grateful to know that you are with us always. So be it. Thank you. And now, if you want to read along with us or join us or just listen, I've asked Reverend Debra Bay to read our statement of principles. And I don't see you, Deborah, so if you could unmute yourself and go ahead because I can't find you. Oh, there you are. Okay, yeah, thank you. Thanks.
Good morning, everyone. This is our statement of principles. There is one creative force of which all life is a part. This one creative force is known by many names and manifestations. We recognize and honor the many names and manifestations of the one creative force, the source of all creation, one in God. The energy of life everywhere is continuous. All consciousness is continuous. Communication is continuous. The energy of life, consciousness, and communication never cease, even after the event that is perceived as death. One creates one's own reality. One creates in harmony with the one creative force, the great power of God, of which all life is a part. Reality is as one chooses to perceive and will change as one grows in knowledge of the inner self and one's relationship with the God of his understanding. All things are possible with faith, insight, knowledge, understanding, acceptance, and love. Love is the unifying energy of the universe. Love is the energy of the one creative force, the wisdom of God. All life and all mankind are one in the creatorship and healing force of love and with each other. Love is within us and of us. Love is never apart from us. It is we who separate ourselves from the power of love. The force of God works through love and love alone.
Thank you, Deborah. Thank you very much. And now before we go on to anything else, I'd like to have a few moments of quiet meditation so that we can concentrate on going within to find the peace and calm and healing for ourselves and for the world. So Bobby, if you would unmute yourself and give us a little bit of meditation music. I'm not going to do a guided today. Let's just go into the quiet with Bobby. Thank you.
This is a song called Mood for the Day.
Focus on your breathing. And take your time. Come back to the present. Wiggle your fingers and toes, and when you're ready, open your eyes. Please remember that we are always connected to each other and to the divine. Use this peace and calm to take care of yourselves and all others around you in your communities and throughout the world in whatever way that you can. Now please either aloud or silently add the names of those you wish to add to this healing energy today. Okay, all right, thank you. Thank you for that, Bobbi. And I'm going to ask you again, Bobbi, if you would now raise our vibration a bit with some song. What do you have for us today?
I have no idea.
Okay.
Let's see. Let me grab a pick here and see how this one goes. What a fellowship, what a joy divine, leaning on the everlasting arms. What a blessedness, what a peace of mind, leaning on the everlasting arms. Leaning, safe and secure from all alarms. Leaning on the everlasting arms. Oh, how sweet to walk in this pilgrim way, leaning on the everlasting arms. Oh, how bright the path grows from day to day, leaning on the everlasting arms. Leaning, safe and secure from all alarms. Leaning on the everlasting arms. What have I to dread? What have I to fear? Leaning on the everlasting arms. I have blessed peace with my dad so near, leaning on the everlasting arms, leaning, safe and secure from all alarms, leaning on the everlasting arms.
Thank you, Bobbi. Thank you very much. And it's now time for some inspiration and thought exchange brought to us by today's speaker. We do invite everyone to address this assembly with words of inspiration, lessons learned, or passionate ideas. And today our speaker is Rev Bobbi Surmick. Rev Bobbi is a registered nurse and a certified somatic therapist. She has extensive experience as an intuitive healer. She utilizes many different modalities to achieve the balance of body, mind, and soul. So with that, I bring you Rev Bobbi Surmick. Thank you, Bobbi.
Thank you, Jenny, and happy Father's Day to all of us. Even us mothers sometimes take on the role of father, so we need to celebrate that part of us as well. But mostly it's for the dads in our audience that I send out my love and deep good wishes. I decided to, whoa, I just lost an earring. I'll take off the other one. I decided to talk today about 12 steps to deeper spirituality. And I was wondering if you could look in your heart and see what keeps you from a deeper, more personal relationship with your higher power. We all could use a boost in that area. The list can be long. It can be time or commitment, your background, desire, understanding. It goes on and on and on and on. There's lots of things that can keep us from that deeper relationship with our higher power. But have you ever considered that a substance or a particular thing or activity might be coming between you and your higher power? This thing might seem really innocuous. Could be reading or quilting or bird watching or belly dancing. It could be anything. It could be eating. Anything that is out of balance in our lives can be addictive. I've just listed a few of mine, not belly dancing. Haven't taken that up yet, but I'm sure there are more if I go mining for them. So how do we look at these things in our lives and come to the closer walk with our higher power? The higher power I call God. The first thing to decide is if we truly want a closer relationship. You have to want it to go for it. Are we willing to spend some time being introspective and ask ourselves some deep questions? It's okay if it's not a priority in your life right now. We all come to this at different times. There may come a time in the future when you want more sanity, more serenity in your life, and you're not sure how to find it. Pardon me, I do have notes. I'm finding a 12-step program for obsessive eating for food addiction to be an eye-opening path to a much deeper relationship with the God of my understanding. I had been restless, irritable, discontent, and unsure why. I had steadily been gaining weight and was unhappy about how I looked and how I felt, and my health was being badly affected. I needed to make a change. But I have tried practically every program under the sun. And after a short time, they either no longer work, or they're too restrictive to stay on, or mostly I just wanted to go back to eating what I wanted when I wanted it. And a friend took me to a food addicts in recovery meeting. It was more than a room just full of people who were in their right size body, which was a shock to me. I expected them to all be shaped like me. It was a room full of happy, serene people who told their stories on how their search for a way to eat sanely brought them to a closer relationship to their higher power. And that lit up for me. It hit me right between the eyes. that was what I'd been searching for. My first step to that closeness goal was to accept there were things in my life that were shutting me off from God's presence. In my case, the biggest issue was an addiction to sugar and flour that set off an uncontrollable craving for more and more and more food. As Food Addict states, food addiction is a disease of the mind, body, and spirit for which there is no cure, but it can be arrested a day at a time by our adapting a disciplined way of eating and a 12-step program. When we abuse food by using it as a drug, our lives become unmanageable. My abstinence is to weigh and measure my meals, not eat between meals, and to abstain completely from sugar, flour. Yeah, I don't abstain from showers. I do take those. But I abstain from sugar, flour, and I avoid some individual foods that are binge foods for me. I can't eat nuts. I love nuts. But if I start on them, however what size the container is, that's a single size serving. If it's 3 pounds, I'll eat 3 pounds of nuts. I'll be sick as a dog, but I will eat them all. As this was scary for me to accept, and I really hated addressing myself as an addict. That was really hard. For me, an addict is somebody with a needle in their arm under a bridge. My husband also had a hard time accepting the fact that I was addicted to something. But the reality of it is, the longer I'm off flour and sugar, the more I realize what an addict I've been. As much as any alcoholic drank, I ate to numb my feelings. And when the effect wore off, I was ready to eat again. What surprised me when I adapted this way of eating was that other areas of my life that were badly out of balance, like addictive reading to escape my day-to-day life, quilting and crafting for long hours with no break, which resulted in pain and irritability, those things started to settle into a more balanced way of being. That happened just by accepting and admitting I was powerless over food and that my life had become unmanageable. In 12 steps, that's step 1. I've always believed in a higher power. I've never had a problem with that. Higher power is a being with many names and manifestations, as we say in our principles. I call mine God. But while I had come to believe that God kept the whole universe in balance, it's kind of a juggling act, always keeping everything where he wanted things, I no longer believed that she cared specifically for me. If so, why did I have so many problems? I had gotten away from meditation, from scriptural or spiritual reading, even from praying, unless it was for someone on the prayer list or someone I knew needed healing prayers. I believed God cared about them. I just didn't believe God cared about me. Then I started using the recommended tools for the 12-step program. The first one for us is abstinence. So my food becomes healthy, nourishing meals. Another tool is working with a sponsor, someone who's done this before, who knows the path, who understands my problems. As long as I no longer had to figure things out alone, I knew I'd be in a better place. Attending meetings. Right now we attend them by Zoom or by phone, but we're lucky in the Cleveland area to have a lot of 12-step meetings since 12-step program started in Akron. Cleveland sort of became a satellite to that, and there's 12-step programs for everything under the sun, except reading and quilting. I haven't found those yet. I talk with my sponsor every day. I make a commitment for what food I'm going to eat. I make outreach phone calls to share my hope with others. I call someone if I'm stressed, and I certainly call someone before I take the first addictive bite of food. We feel anonymity is important within the program because it allows us to speak openly and to trust one another. I read 12-step literature daily, and I now read spiritual literature as well. I utilize writing as an important tool. I write about my life, my remorse, my regrets, my happy times, my joyful times. And I write if I have a troubling experience. Somehow writing it out helps me get a better perspective on it. It's real easy for my mind to go off in 100 different directions. I call them rabbit holes. But when I'm writing, it keeps me more focused. We work to replace our negative thoughts and feelings with thankful ones, just as we do in the Church of the Angels. So our gratitude becomes an action, not just a feeling. We do service by staying abstinent, and any service that we do that helps another food addict, sufferer, adds to the quality of our own recovery. Excuse me a second. And for me, the most important tool has been quiet time. To maintain our abstinence, we must rely on a power greater than our own. I can do a great job of messing up my life when I try to run my own railroad. So now I set aside a full half hour every morning to sit quietly and relax. In this time with God, I listen. I look for perspective, serenity, and strength that will enable me to stay abstinent and respond sanely to both the challenges and the joys in my life. I can go way off track if something great happens, just as well as I can go way off track if there's a challenge that shows up in my path. The deeper this time with God becomes, the more balance and serenity are in my life. When I started this journey, I thought it was just that I ate too much. I had forgotten that the key to everything is my relationship with God. So in step 2, I came to believe that a power greater than myself could restore me to sanity. Didn't have to believe that it would restore me to sanity, just that it could restore me to sanity. We believe in little steps in program. We don't take giant leaps up whole staircases. We take one step at a time. After some real soul searching, I embraced step 3. I made a decision to turn my will and my life over to the care of God as I understood him. Who our higher power is so personal, and it's so different from person to person. What is a higher power for me might not resonate with you at all, and what you find a higher power to be might not resonate with me, but it doesn't matter. The thing of it is that we have to recognize there is a power greater than ourselves. The main thing for me was accepting I wasn't doing a very good job with my life right now. I was trying to be the actor, the stage crew, the lighting tech, the ticket seller, and the director of my show called Bobbi's Life. But no person can do it all. We need God's guiding hand to fill the roles, assign the jobs, and direct the play of our lives. The 4th step on my journey was to make a fearless and moral inventory of myself. Oh, Lord, was I terrified by that. I kept, every meeting, every time I'd read, there it would be, and I'd say, oh, I don't think I can do that. Oh, I don't think I can do that. But it isn't something we have to do alone. That was my problem. I was so used to isolating with my issues that I didn't realize that there's help out there, not just God's help, but human help as well. Our sponsors are there to guide us, and many of us go to a group support meeting to do 12-step study, and that gives us a lot of support when we do that 4th step. I will say it is a little unsettling at times to have to look at myself so honestly. I realize how dishonest I've been in my whole life. I can live in fantasy very easily and not deal with reality at all. But one of the things that I needed to learn in my inventory is that it's an accounting of both my assets and my liabilities. I'd forgotten I had assets. For me, it was easy to see what I've done wrong or could have done better, but I'm fortunate to have support that helps me look at my good qualities and assets. When I finished with this first pass at step 4, I will admit to God, to myself, and to another human being the exact nature of my wrongs. That's step 5. Then I will become entirely ready to have God remove all these defects of my character. That's another big step on my path to a close relationship with God. What if I have some defects that I rather like? I think sarcasm is funny, but the reality of it is sarcasm can be very wounding to other people. It'll be better for me to surrender this as well as everything else. In step 7, I humbly ask God to remove my shortcomings. That sounds easy, easier than step 4 used to sound, but it too is a process, deeply thought out. I know my humility needs some work. Though I used to have humility confused with humiliation. I've had enough of that in my life that I had started to think they were the same thing. They're not the same at all. Humility is opening our hearts completely to the presence of God and being honest and open in front of God, not humiliation. It seemed to me that making a list of all the people I had harmed and become willing to make amends to them all would be a yeoman's task. There must be hundreds. But working on step 4 helps create a list without even trying, and I trust it will not take the rest of my life to make those amends. At 71, it's a good thing I'm getting started. In step 9, I will make direct amends to such people whenever possible, except when to do so would injure them or others. That got me worried. How would I know if it would injure them or others? That's another place where peers and sponsors are important in making these decisions, and a place where I can release more of the baggage keeping me from feeling God's protective hands around me. The days in meditation when I feel God's presence, when I actually sense God around me, are just the best mornings, and the rest of the day goes so incredibly well. I was joking with my sponsor one day, and she said, you know, how was I doing feeling God's presence? And I said, well, he showed up sitting on the couch this morning dressed in a long robe and sandals, and I asked him why he was dressed that way, and he said, when the temperature's 110 in Arizona, it's more comfortable than other clothes. So God does show up. Although I haven't formally finished all the steps to this point, I try my best to do step 10 daily. I continue to take personal inventory, and when I am wrong, big shock, sometimes I am wrong. When I'm wrong, I promptly admit it. That's not always easy. It will make my life clearer and help get rid of the insanity, and so I do it. My search for a closer contact with God has me committed to steps 11 as well. Sip water. I seek through prayer and meditation to improve my conscious contact with God. I pray only for knowledge of His will for me and the power to carry that out. This is again giving up my running the railroad. I have to let God take over and do this. It's a daily practice. My meditation time is amazingly powerful. Step 12 is another starting point in this expansion of my personal contact with God. Having had a spiritual awakening as the result of these steps, we try to carry this message to food addicts and to practice these principles in all our affairs. When we first hear the 12 steps, many of us cry, "What an order! I can't go through with that." But none of us are saints. We strive for spiritual progress rather than spiritual perfection. And I've been happy with finding that progress one small day, one small step at a time, sometimes even one moment at a time. There's a lot more I don't know about addiction than I do, but what I have been learning is this. If your life feels out of control or balance, if you find you are feeling restless, irritable, and discontent, if you are isolating, if some substance, thing, or activity is coming between you and your higher power, you may want to look at the possibility that a 12-step program may help you find your way back to a glorious closeness once again. There isn't a formal program for quilting a holia yet. I may try to start one. But for those things that don't have a formal program, Al-Anon is always a great choice. The power that can bring change to our lives is God. May you find her now. Thank you.
Thank you, Bobbi. Thank you so much, Bobbi. That was absolutely wonderful. I'd like to make a comment, first of all, that was actually very needed for me today. And, I know that there are, myself included, but I know several people that have been through 12-step programs. And you're right, it's about time I relook at that. So I'm going to open it up for comments and questions now. So I'm going to look for raised hands or a chat, hey, or let's see what I can find here. I know that somebody, Debra Michelle. Yeah, Reverend Debra, go ahead and unmute. Go ahead, please.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Bobbi. Thank you so much for sharing that, sharing your experience. Yes, definitely. Addictions come in so many different forms, and sometimes we, imagine the addict as, homeless on the street with a needle, and that's, so untrue. That's just a small portion of people that are addicted. I myself am not shy about sharing that I am in the 12-step program. And when I am closer to my higher power, my life goes so much better. And when I went back in the rooms about 1.5 years ago. God reminded me they were there, and I went back in, and I decided at that point to try, my life 100% sober. I hadn't drank for many, many years, but I was using other substances, and my life has changed. And what they taught me when I went back in that second time around, not only I did the work and I got a sponsor and did everything I was supposed to do, but it taught me to turn my will and my life over to the care of God as I understood him. Whereas before I came in, I finally, through the Church of the Angels and through a lot of spiritual work and awareness and working through my own stuff, I came to believe in a loving God instead of a punishing God, which was huge. But I still wasn't turning my will and my life over to that God. And that's the one thing that a 12-step program has taught me. And it's changed my life completely. And through all of this chaos that we're living through and everything, that's the one thing that has brought me back to center every time, realigned me, that's my anchor. And I was in a wind shamanic retreat yesterday all day, and we were talking about anchors a lot, and in this time more than ever, we need something anchoring us down and holding us here, because it is so chaotic out there. But what someone said about an anchor, and it kind of shifted my perspective, because usually I think about anchors, you're stuck, you're solid, you're there, but the boat can still move. So you still have, some play and some fluidity. And so I just thought I wanted to bring that up, because even a few weeks ago when I was in one of my Zoom meetings, I thought AA is my anchor of alignment. Because like I said, that's what actually doing the 12 steps, working with the sponsor, hanging with the weed, was the missing key in my life that reminded me and taught me how to turn my will and my life over to the care of God. So thank you for reminding me of that this morning. Thank you. God bless you on your journey, and everyone. I love y'all. So glad I'm here this morning. Thank you.
Thank you, Debra. Yes, Dale, go ahead.
Bobbi, I would just like to thank you very much for that really inspirational presentation of the 12-step program. And I'm in the process of writing a book about a number of spiritual concepts, and one of the chapters that I haven't started yet is the one on self-improvement. And your presentation reminded me that the 12-step concept is one of the most important and widely used programs of self-improvement that there is, and it's certainly something that I have to factor into my thinking in writing this chapter. So I thank you very much for reminding me of that and giving an excellent presentation of it.
You're most welcome.
Lydia. Hi.
Yes. I definitely wanted to say something. OA was really part of my life for a while, and probably be a good idea to get in part of my life again. I guess that's my message. I totally understand the 12-step program, and I know its value, and I appreciate it. You know, I see this as Source talking to me. It's like, okay, I hear you loud and clear now. But anyway, I just wanted to thank Bobbi for sharing and for helping me focus on that, because that's not something I've been focusing on other things, but you know, all of it helps, and I appreciate it. I just wanted to say that. So thanks.
Thank you. Is there Linda Kupiak? Go ahead and unmute yourself, dear. Okay, you're good.
Yes, Bobbi, thank you. Thank you so much from my heart. I am not familiar with the 12-step program, and I appreciate not just hearing about the steps, but about your, I appreciate the connection, your personal connection that you brought to it, and your honesty. And I love hearing the difference between humiliation and humility. Your words spoke to my heart. And thank you so much for opening yourself up and sharing with us.
Thank you.
Right. Okay, I'm looking. Let me scan here. Barbara, Miss B, go ahead. I unmuted you.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Oh, thank you. I would say that I am walking the walk and talking the talk, and I have been for all of the time period. Those that know me, I have been looking for quite a while to move. And I have been talking to the universe about finding someplace. And I told the universe, I'm using the universe because I've been through several modalities of religion throughout my life. So I am very happy to use the universe as my point of reference because of the different modalities of religion that I have been using in my life. I'm very comfortable using the universe as my mutual reference point. And I said to the universe, this is what I'm looking for, and this is how I want it to appear. And I am happy to say, lo and behold, this is how I garnered the space that I'm moving to. And there's more of a story, not the time to tell it at this time. But I find that when I've been focusing on asking for what I want, this is how I have received my gifts. And it is through prayer and the universe is granting me these gifts that I am now able to tell you, Bobbi, that your talk today is of the most pertinent and importance, that it has really struck the nerve and is how I have received the gifts that I have received in my life. And eventually I will be writing a book that will be not on the 12 steps, but on telling my story. And I thank you so much for talking today on your 12-step program and what your needs have been throughout your life. And I can't tell you how much today's talk has been just the focal point of how great the blessings are that you have received, because that has been how much I have received my blessings. And when you trust in your source, that is exactly how I've received my blessings. And it is through prayer and wishes that all of this has happened to me. And I'm so grateful that that is how you have received what you have received, has been through you call it your 12-step. I have called it my gifts. And I thank you for your talk today. It is really struck a nerve. And given me the strength to get to where I am today, and how much more work I need to get through to get to where I'm going to go physically from this apartment to my new condo. You've generated the necessary energy for me today. And I thank you for your talk. And namaste.
Namaste. I'm so happy you found a new home.
I am so, I can do the happy dance after we get done with service today. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Right, thank you. Thank you, everyone. And Reverend Bobbi, thank you again. I believe that there is a message for you in the chat section, so if you want to go look there as well. And I want to thank you so much for that. Again, it was wonderful. And we're going to stop for a couple of announcements real quick. I want to say Happy Father's Day to everyone, all those fathers and all those who act as fathers. And also on Wednesday, the 24th, we have another virtual meditation circle coming. Next week, our speaker is Allison Weeks. And are there any announcements from the floor?
I have one.
Oh, go ahead, Deborah.
Today this afternoon at 2 o'clock, I am doing a Zoom anchoring in divine love and life. There's some things going on in our country, some rallies and some things going on that aren't of divine love and light today. So I thought, I would put together this Zoom. I will put the meeting ID and passcode in the chat. So if anybody wants to join us, that's today at 2 o'clock.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Any other? Real quick.
Oh, yep.
If you can't join, that's fine. Just today, really focus on what brings you joy and happiness, and don't let the fear come in at all. Just combat it with love. Love, love, love. Oh, okay, sorry.
All right, thanks. Thank you, Deborah. Okay, any other announcements? Let me take another quick look before we go on to some message work. Okay, I think we're clear. All right, now we'll move into some message work. As spiritualists, we do believe that the energy of all beings is forever linked, that all of us have direct access to the love and guidance of loved ones, guides, teachers, saints, healers, and angels on the other side of life. And we do have mediums that have agreed to, that have joined us today, who have agreed to be of service and connect up with Spirit to bring forth a few messages for us. First, I would like to call on Reverend Linda Kupiak. If you would unmute yourself, and do you have a message or two for us today?
Yes, I have messages.
All right.
Let me see. Is Pat still with us?
Reverend Pat Gates, where did you go? Let's see. Oh, I don't see her. I'm sorry.
Okay, that's perfectly fine. How about Anne Marie? Would you like a message?
Yes, she's unmuting herself. Yes.
Yes, I would. Thank you.
Okay. You have a small group of women around you. No, I'm sorry. It seems like a couple, because there's a gentleman that says no. I'm here as well. They want you to know that it seems that you have something stirring in your life, in more within, but it has to do, of course, with the physical human sense. But there's something stirring inside. It's going to lead you to like a happier place to be. As I understand, you have a book or books, one in particular that resonates with you more than the others. And this is something that's powerful. I'm trying to understand what they're saying. It has to do with with the stirring inside you, getting to know yourself. You do have a wonderful understanding of yourself, but this is taking you, like they said, to that next level. They send a lot of love, and they're with you. They're talking about your courage. You have found a voice. It hasn't been quickest, and I don't know you, but as I understand it, it wasn't like sudden. It was over a period of time, and they applaud you for that, because you having this courage will help in the confidence and looking in this reading and the stirring. So they just give you all kinds of love and support. And remember, and this is the gentleman in particular, the husband, if you feel that you're weak whatsoever, you feel like you're falling, know that he's right there with you. He is supporting you, and his wife as well, and with all the love. I'll leave that with you.
Thank you.
Let's see. Vicki, would you like a message?
Yes.
I guess that's a...
Yep, that's a yes.
Okay, yes. You express yourself with confidence and with strength, and this is how I see you. But they're showing me that sometimes you wobble, and you know that yourself. But, and I'm asking, well, what's the message with this has to do with? As you go inside yourself, and this is natural for you. This is not new for you, but I'm trying to think the word. They know that this supports you, and during this time, they would like you to pause and do this. But when you take the time, pausing and go inward, you better balance, and we all better balance, of course. But with you, there's so much strength in doing it. You not only feel better, but you're more yourself, your true self, and they appreciate the work that you do, and you are the strongest when you are your true self. And of course, I'm thinking this is true, but it's a message for you, because as I understand, it's important at this time. So I'll leave that with you, with universe's love.
Thank you.
Thank you, Reverend Jenni, for allowing me to
Thank you, Linda. Thank you so much. Reverend Vicki, would you serve spirit today?
Yes, I have a message for Denise Ludwig. Would you like a message? Hi. I'm seeing on your father's side coming in very strong. for you. They're here for you. Can you hear me?
Yes, she
Okay.
just, yep, oh, there she goes, yep.
All right. I'm seeing all of your father's side coming in for you. And they're saying you have a lot of courage. Don't forget, you have more courage than they had, they're saying. And they're bringing in a lot of love for you today and in the future. And there's going to be some new doors opening for you. And don't be scared to walk through them because they've brought them to you. And I'll leave that with you. Just a lot of love, Denise, coming in for you from spirit, from ancestors for you. And I'll leave that with you.
Well, thank you so very much. Greatly appreciated.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Kathy, would you like a message? Kathy, I'm seeing some changes coming. You've been wanting some change. You've been asking spirit for some change. I'm seeing some spirit guides come in for you, and they're very strong spirit guides. You've been asking for this change, and it's going to happen very quickly, and it's all moving you up into a higher energy. So be ready. Be ready. You know, take advantage of it because it's a good thing coming your way, and it's a lot of energy, and you're going to feel so much better. And they want you to get out in nature more. And when this is over, there's some new friends coming because you're trying to feel like you've been abandoned, but there's new friends coming. And I'll leave that with you with Spirit's blessings. Thank you for letting me serve.
Thank you. Thank you, Vicki. Miss B, do I see your hand up? Do you have a message? All right, I have unmuted you. Go ahead, Miss B.
Would you mind telling me the young lady I spoke to before service? She was from Mercer.
That would be Cheryl. That would be Cheryl.
Would Cheryl mind if I spoke with her, please?
That would be great. Thank you.
You know, when I spoke with you earlier this morning, I noticed, thank you for allowing me to speak to you. I was feeling during service that not only was there space between us, I feel Spirit is showing me that there was, not only was there Spirit was space between us, but there is some type of space going on between you and people in your life at this time, and that you are not to worry about that. That will like sew up, like stitch together in the future, and that you're not to worry if that is happening to you in your life at this time. Does that resonate with you at all at this point?
Sure does. Sure does. Thank you.
Okay. Spirit is showing me, this is not an eyes thing. I'm sorry, I'm very new at this. I just want you to know that Spirit is showing that space between others is going to stitch itself together, and that you'll come out okay in the end. And I'm going to leave you with that message, with God's blessings. All right? And I thank you for allowing me to speak with you this morning. All right?
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Thank you, Miss B. Thank you so much. All right, does anybody have a quick one? I'm just going to pop through here real quick. Oh, Reverend Debra, yes, you've got one?
I do, yes. Is
okay,
it
go ahead.
Ilena? Is that how you say your name, Ilena?
Ileana.
Ileana. Hi, may I come to you, Ileana?
Absolutely, thank you.
Do you have a grandmother in spirit?
I have two grandmothers in spirit.
This I believe is your grandmother on your mother's side. You look a lot like her? You have very similar features. Yeah, she's with you, and she's showing me like foggy glasses, like the vision's blurred for you right now. Like there's a lot of things that are out of focus, and you're praying about it. And she's telling me that the prayers are definitely being heard and things are putting back into vision, into correct vision, but it's going to take some time. So continue to pray, but she's telling me just continue to trust that everything's going to be and work out the way it's supposed to. And you're going to be even more delighted with the outcome. She keeps saying the word delighted. I'm feeling joy and happiness. And yeah, did she cook like biscuits or some sweet biscuit?
She was a great cook. She was an awesome cook.
There's some sweet biscuit, because then I'm seeing this big, I don't even know. It's some kind of loaf with icing all over it. And she's saying that you have to put in all the ingredients properly in perfect order, but you don't have to know the perfect order. The ingredients are going to show up. You just need to acknowledge it, address it, trust that the loaf is going to come out perfect, that it's going to come out without too much of your assistance, because all you need to do is, allow the ingredients to come together, and then you're going to taste the sweetness of what develops. And yes, and I just see like pulling pieces off, and it's rich and it's gooey, and sorry, Bobbi, I don't, it's sugar free. But yeah, it's going to, it will, but it's going to take some time. And she's here supporting you and giving you her love. And she's like pulling your shoulders back. Like, it's okay. Just trust and open back up. You don't need to continue to be hiding and closed off. It's okay to be open and to allow what's going to happen. It's because it's going to be better than you think. So just keep allowing, keep trusting, keep praying, because that makes you feel better. But it's going to be better. And I'm seeing like 6 to 7 months. So I know that's a little bit out there, but it'll be quick. Look how fast this year's gone already. So she just wants me to leave that with you with love and light.
Thank you so much. God bless. Thank you.
You're welcome. God bless you.
Thank you. Thank you, Reverend Debra. Carol Miller, did I see your hand up? Oh, wait a minute. You're still muted, hon.
Actually, no. I was
okay. That's fine.
And I had one for Jeff, but he left. So I'll just send blessings his way.
All right. Thank you so much
for asking.
You're quite welcome. All right. Well, thank you for everyone's kind attention. Thank you to all participants and mediums, and especially the Spirit and the God of your understanding for being with us today and always. For those who may be new with us today, you can learn more about the Church of the Angels at our website, which is www.thechurchoftheangels.net. And if you would join us again for another song from Bobbi, and then I'll have a closing prayer. Thank you.
Okay. I always try to find a song, and then Spirit says, no, play this song. I don't know why I'm supposed to play this. Maybe it's for me to listen to, but it's a message. All of us need tools sometime to push through something, right? But all we gotta do is make it mine. Wake up, everyone. How can you sleep at a time like this unless the dreamer is the real you? Listen to your voice, one that tells you to taste past the tip of your tongue. Leap in the net will appear. I don't want to wait before the dream is over. I'm gonna make it mine, and I know I will know it. I'm gonna make it mine. Yes, I'll make it all mine. I keep my life in a heavy rotation, requesting that it's lifting you up, up, up and away, and over to a table at the Gratitude Cafe. And I am finally there, and all the angels, they'll be singing, I la la la, I la la la, I la la la, love you. Well, I don't want to break before the tour is over, I'm gonna make it mine. Yes, I will own it. I'm gonna make it mine. Yes, I'll make it all mine. And timing's everything, and this time there's plenty, and I am balancing carefully and steadily and readily an energy that everyone is emitting. Well, I don't want to wait no more. Oh, I want to celebrate the whole world. I'm going to make it mine, and I'm following your joy. I'm going to make it all mine, 'cause I am open. I'm going to make it mine. That's why I will show it. I'm going to make it all mine. Gonna make it all mine. Yes, I'll make it all mine. Make it yours, Jen.
In closing, let us pray. Infinite Spirit, Mother, Father, God, as we move forward, we thank you in advance for the guidance and resources you always provide for us to live the fullest expression of your love. We pray for all those affected by the circumstances throughout our world at this time. May we be reminded of the opportunities to reconnect in love to all those around the world, to Mother Earth and the entire universe. Amen. Thank you.